What does a Rolex truly represent? Is it just an expensive timepiece or something far more profound? When successful people say, "When I make it, I'll buy a Rolex," they're not simply talking about a watch. They're speaking of legacy, precision, and the culmination of a dream that began with a young orphan over a century ago. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary story of how Rolex became more than a watch. It became a symbol that your time has come. The year is 1881 in the small German town of Kulmbach. A baby boy named Hans Wilsdorf is born into modest circumstances. Life dealt Hans a cruel blow early. At just 12 years old, he lost both parents, becoming an orphan with no guidance but his own determination. Sent to a boarding school in Switzerland, young Hans developed qualities that would later define his empire: intelligence, discipline, and most importantly, the ability to dream beyond his circumstances. At 19, Hans began working for a Swiss watch export company. There, he absorbed everything about watchmaking, not as an owner, not as a craftsman, but as a student of time itself. Though his position was humble, his vision was anything but. By 1903, Hans had moved to London with an ambitious dream: to create not just another watch, but the world's most trusted timepiece. In 1905, with partner Alfred Davis, he founded Wilsdorf and Davis, importing Swiss movements and housing them in quality cases. But Hans needed something more, a name that would tick with perfection in any language. The story goes that in 1908, riding in a horse carriage, it came to him like a whisper: Rolex. 5 letters that sounded like a watch ticking. Short, powerful, memorable. A legend was born. Here's what many don't realize. Wristwatches were considered feminine in the early 1900s. Real men carried pocket watches, pulling them from waistcoats with deliberate ceremony. Hans saw the future differently. He believed wristwatches would become essential, but only if they could match pocket watches in precision and durability. This wasn't just a business decision. It was revolutionary thinking. In 1910, Hans shocked the world when a Rolex wristwatch received Switzerland's chronometric precision certificate, the first wristwatch ever to achieve this honor. Suddenly, the impossible became possible. When World War I erupted in 1914, Hans faced another crisis. As a German in England, he was suddenly viewed with suspicion. Rather than surrender his dream, he relocated Rolex to neutral Switzerland, a pivotal decision that would shape the company's future. By 1926, Hans had created something unprecedented: the world's first waterproof watch, the Rolex Oyster. To prove its capabilities, he convinced English swimmer Mercedes Gleitze to wear it during her English Channel swim. After 10 hours in freezing water, the watch emerged perfectly functioning. The headlines were sensational: the watch that defied the sea. 5 years later, in 1931, Rolex introduced another game-changer: the first self-winding mechanism with a perpetual rotor. No more daily winding. The natural movement of your wrist would power the watch. This innovation became the foundation of modern automatic watches. Rolex's true character emerged in its pursuit of the extreme. In 1953, when Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay conquered Mount Everest, a Rolex Oyster Perpetual Explorer accompanied them to the summit. That same year, Rolex unveiled the Submariner, the first watch waterproof to 100 meters. Layer models would survive depths of nearly 4,000 meters, including the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth. For speed enthusiasts, the Cosmograph Daytona became legendary, especially after actor Paul Newman wore it racing. His personal Daytona would later sell for a staggering $17.8 million. And for world leaders, the day-date, crafted only in precious metals, became known as the President's Watch, adorning the wrists of many heads of state. Rolex's dominance isn't accidental. It's built on 4 uncompromising principles. 1. Timeless design. They don't chase trends. They create classics that never age. 2. Unmatched durability. Each watch is tested under extreme conditions before reaching your wrist. 3. In-house excellence. From melting their own gold to crafting their own lubricants, Rolex controls every aspect of production. 4. Silent mastery. While others shout for attention, Rolex lets its craftsmanship speak. Here's what few understand. Owning a Rolex isn't just about having money. Even with cash in hand, you'll likely face a years-long waiting list for popular models. Why? Because Rolex produces only about 1 million watches annually, far fewer than demand requires. This scarcity, combined with unparalleled quality, transforms Rolex from a purchase into an investment. Many models increase in value over time, some dramatically so. But beyond investment, a Rolex carries emotional weight. It marks milestones, career achievements, anniversaries, legacies passed from parent to child. It's not just telling time. It's marking the moments that matter. When Hans Wilsdorf died in 1960, he left behind more than a company. His vision lives on in every Rolex that keeps perfect time on someone's wrist. The orphan who lost everything built something timeless by understanding that excellence is never accidental. It requires vision, patience, and an unwavering commitment to perfection. In a world of disposable products and fleeting trends, Rolex reminds us that quality endures, that craftsmanship matters, and that sometimes the most powerful statement is the quietest. So the next time you see someone wearing a Rolex, remember, it's not just a watch. It's a story of human triumph, a silent testament that says, "My time has come." If you enjoyed this story of transformation and excellence, hit subscribe for more stories that inspire. And let me know in the comments, what brand would you like to see featured next?